Alright, the gimbal housing is off. It was very simple. I didn't videotape because it was tending to pull itself away as I was loosening, so figured I'd just get it all done and then show you what it was. Basically, it was 8 bolts, and then you actually have to take the water inlet off as two small, I think they're 7/16" bolts. You got to take off the water inlet, and you have to pivot the little tube that allows the oil to go to the outdrive a little bit, so therefore it'll come, the actual inner transom plate, which actually surrounds right here, you can see its little shadow, pulls off. And once you got that off, I went back in the back and gave it a little smack, and the whole gimbal housing in the back came off. So it slid down. I set it on my box right there for right now. And I need to figure out if that thing is, you can actually take it apart. I was reading something about the alphas, is you have to drill a hole right there to get the actual gimbal, I guess the flange, off for painting. I don't know if you have to do that on the Bravos. Plus I need to replace a couple of screws. I'll show you that here in a second. Okay, so on to the transom. I mean, this is a kind of a toss-up. Let me show you what I got here. This is the worst part right here. And it really looks like it only goes back a little bit. So I got to start digging here and figure out just how far back this sucker, this rot goes, to see if possibly we can just put some wood flour in here. The bottom is surprisingly sturdy. I might have to dig a little bit out, but you know, I might want to just leave well enough alone. So if anybody knows if that's a kosher thing to do, to basically dig out what you don't need and either use C-cast, because this is a real thick fiberglass skin on it. I mean, it's a good 1/4 inch. It's almost, looks like it's almost as thick as the gel coat on the outside. So if I can just dig all this out, pour in some C-cast or something like that. There's a little bit of a soft spot, and form it out that way. Gosh, wouldn't that save me a ton of time? And then of course re-drill the holes. But I don't know. Somebody tell me. I'm kind of excited that I may not have to redo this whole dang transom. God, that would make my life so much easier. But anyway, so it's out, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all my tools out, and I'm going to do a preliminary cleanup here. And then back here in the back, I'm gonna raise the bow up with my cherry picker, and I'm gonna spray a whole bunch of degreaser back in here, and I am going to hose it out. It is nasty. My feet are slipping around all down here. You can see all the oil and gook and everything. So I'm gonna do a preliminary little workplace cleanup. It always makes you feel better when you get a clean place. And I love this little shelf over the transom. I can stuff all my wires and stuff back in there. I just got to figure out how to get them out of the way so I can paint, because I'm going to change all this. I'm going to bilge coat all this white, so that way it's all nice and neat. But I also got to figure out how in the world I'm going to be able to break it, the bilge coat to the gel coat. Or do I just go ahead and gel coat all of this? I mean, hell, I could just tape all this off and spray it. I've got the tools to do it. So there's a lot of decisions to be made between now and that time, but you know, until then, we've got all this to mess with. Fun times, fun times. So anyway, I am going to do some cleanup, get my tools out of here, see if I can wash this sucker out and get a little bit more tolerable to work in. All right, I'll show you. I told you I'd show you the not galvanization, rust or corrosion on a couple of these bolts. It's the 2 or the 4 bottom ones. They're kind of nasty looking. They got some pitting and stuff like that, so these need to be replaced. Now, they're unlike the Alpha, as they drill in from this way. You've actually got, they're a stud, so what you got to do is you got to put 2 screws on there and back them out to where they bind against each other. And because it's rusted, you got to use some type of penetrating oil. That's what scares me to death, is that I'm not going to be able to get these out because they're kind of rusted on the other side. I'm kind of wondering if this boat was a saltwater boat. I know it was kept in the water a lot on the lake, but I've never seen corrosion like this on a lake. I may be wrong, but you know, I just really never paid attention. I guess now that I've got a boat that's corroded like this, I don't know. So I need to figure out also how to get this thing completely apart. So I need to blow it completely apart for paint. I'm not going to put all this work and painstaking love into this boat, put an ugly ass gimbal back on it. And of course, also I'm going to repaint and redo the outdrive. So, okay, it's degreasing time. This is my favorite stuff to use. First of all, you can get like 2 bottles for $5 at AutoZone. But it's just a degreaser. Works really good. I used it for all the jet skis and stuff like that. But what I do is I put it in my little garden sprayer. I have a garden sprayer dedicated strictly for degreaser and stuff, and another one for poison. And what I've done is I've jacked the bow up a lot, so therefore I can get it nice and get the tilt back this way, so I can get in there and spray a lot of degreaser and then rinse it out with the hose. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use it full strength, and I'm going to get up there and spray everything down the bilge, let it sit, scrub it with my brush, and then rinse it out. Well, she's officially cleaned up, and we got a bunch of gunk out of there. My son came out here and helped me keep the little drain plug from getting clogged up. I sprayed the hell out of the inside of this with degreaser and scrubbed and scrubbed. It's amazing what a little bit of elbow grease will do. You can actually see where the guy that had this before me, when they redid the deck, they just slathered the gel coat, looks like, in there, just threw it back together, so it's pretty nasty. The other thing I want to show you guys is something to look for when you're buying a boat. You see this little line right here? That's a stain. It actually goes up to a little hole up underneath here. See that right there? That's where rotten wood is leaking out of there. That's the stain from the rotten wood. So that's where it's not sealed really good, where the chop strand that they put down on here didn't seal it right. I actually see a crack right there too. It's actually right where my fingernail is. So that engine was actually torquing pretty bad. So I'm kind of stoked about the transom though. I hope that I don't have to redo the whole thing. If I can just dig out what I need, put in some wood treatment to keep the wood from rotting any further, and put in some sea cast, call it a day. I'm all down with that. Well, I think I'm out of gas for the day. I've got this thing cleaned out, done, gimbal off. I've got to clean the garage so my wife can put her car in there. She hates going out at night or in the morning when it's cold, take the kids to school, so I got to clean up all my tools and crap and stuff like that. So it's kind of nice. You see my my pallet over there with all the engine parts on it. Fit everything, gimbal, Y-pipe, the whole 9 yards. So if I decide to give up on that project, I can just sell everything as together as a package. So anyway, that's I think it for this weekend. I will get back on it next weekend hardcore, and actually we're going to take measurements next weekend and try to start actually cutting out a lot of these stringers. I'm going to finish cutting out the rest of that, which won't take but 5 minutes. Get the rest of that foam out of there, get the fuel hose off, and zip tie all this out of the way. And that way I can try to get these long outer stringers out in one fell swoop on both sides, which I think should be okay. And then start cutting out all these side stringers. And just see, kind of how far I get. So anyway, that's it for this weekend. See you next time.